And we're back.
What the hell? Why am I frozen? You asshole!
What's wrong with this Rob guy?
Oh my god!
Oh, he's back. There we go. Look at this guy. He's been frozen for a good week, folks. What's up, folks? Welcome to Monday night. Your Monday night entertainment, which is Rob over here, this goofball, likes to throw all kinds of random shite at him. So always a good sport, Rob. And we got a bunch of people in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the live show. If you are catching this on the replay, we are live every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love it for you to join us and have some fun, bust some chops, make fun of me and Rob, mostly me and my mispronunciation of the English language. English is my first language, just in case you were wondering. Believe it or not. So how you doing, Rob?
I'm all right.
How are you? It's my first language. I'm just bad at it. That's all.
Yeah. Words are hard. Hey, buddy. Hey, John. Thanks, everybody, for joining and tuning in. Man, we love doing this show, and I hope you guys have a good time listening to it afterwards or while we're doing it. Hey, John, we got a lot, I'm sure, to talk about. We've got some... was a bit of a quiet run in the news this past week, but I'm sure you've got some stuff to show us at the shop, and we're going to talk about things that we've watched in the past week or so. What about you, John? You got anything you want to share? Anything you want to kick off with stuff that you've watched? Because I think you just told me before the show started you've been watching nothing, but you've been all these TV shows.
We're in like a crazy content drop. So if you didn't catch our fill-in episode of the Heroes World podcast, check it out. It's only like 20 minutes. We talk a little bit about Obi-Wan. We keep it relatively spoilerish free if you haven't seen it for some reason. And then we talk about all these shows that drop. So like Umbrella Academy. Rob said Westworld just dropped yesterday or today.
Yesterday,
Man from Toronto. Boys is still going. Miss Marvel's still going. Everything is going, and I didn't get a chance to watch any of it.
For All Mankind.
Yeah, For All Mankind, Rob's jam. You can watch season 1 for free. He mentioned it last podcast. Check that out. And Multiverse of Madness even dropped on Disney Plus, which if for some reason you didn't see it in theaters, you can now watch it in the comfort of your own home, or you can rewatch it. So on the rewatch, I did watch a little bit. I think I got a little bit of that in. And then I did finish off Spiderhead. I don't know if you got into Spiderhead.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
It started off better than it ended, and I kind of described it on my Twitter feed as a long episode of Outer Limits or Black Mirror. So if you're into that kind of stuff, it does kind of have like some interesting questions, but it does feel like a COVID quickly filmed Netflix movie. So if this was in theaters, I definitely would have been upset. But since I got to watch it at home in 2 sittings, I'm fine with it. So if you guys got to check out anything, I know a bunch of y'all binged Umbrella Academy season 3.
I haven't seen anything of it yet.
Let us know in the comments. No spoilers. Let us know if you really dug it, didn't dig it. I did watch part of episode 1, and I did really like the vibe. So Rob, I'm gonna let you go nuts because I was at a toy show this weekend, and the prep and doing all the kind of stuff like that took up the majority of my time. So what did you get up to, Rob?
I watched nothing.
Oh
no. So let me just say, first of all, I finished the X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. I'm done, thank God.
Older comics are a little rough sometimes. I think that's what we were saying, right?
They don't move as fast as the more modern stuff. And I would say modern, even from like late 90s on. Okay, in terms of watching stuff, so John, movie-wise, because I was on this X-Men run, I watched X-Men, the original movie that kicked off X-Men, and I watched X-Men 2, X2, X-Men United. I gotta say that movie really actually holds up. X2 holds up.
X2?
Yeah, it does. It holds up incredibly well. Seeing the feral Wolverine as played by Hugh Jackman when Stryker's guys are taking the compound. I love that sequence. It was a lot of fun. So anyways, if you haven't seen X2 in a long time, I suggest checking it out. Excuse me. It is on Disney Plus, so you might as well give it a go if you've got that.
Do they have the entire thing now? Because at one point they were missing 1 or 2 of the later ones.
No, they have them all.
Oh, okay.
They have them all, including Dark Phoenix, your favorite one.
Do you think X2 is probably going to be your favorite? If we did like a rewatch of all the X-Men's, Do you think it's going to be X2
you
at
know
the
what?
top of the list?
I do like Days of Future Past.
That's what I was going to say.
Admit,
I feel like that one might jump to the top for me.
I know, but I have to admit, I really hate the way that the Sentinels look. So I don't know. I really, really like X2. Okay. At least I'm a big fan of Yellowstone, and they had that prequel series called 1883, which is on Paramount Plus network. I watched it. John, I got to say, like the first episode, I was kind of like, and I'm a big Western guy. I love Westerns. I was kind of off on it, and I was like, I don't know. I ended up crushing all 10 episodes. Man, this is a show that is not to be missed.
Yes.
It is gut-wrenching. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It really doesn't have anything to do with Yellowstone in so much as that like, the last name. Like you're not real. Mm-hmm. It's about the journey, about the pioneers going from Texas, trying to make their way to Oregon on the Oregon Trail, and the shit that happens along the way. So honestly, if you haven't seen it yet, if you're a Western fan, even if you're a kind of a somewhat of a Western fan, I think you'd really appreciate the dramatic elements of this show are fantastic. And so, yeah, I'm definitely recommend that. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you're eating a Western omelet and you want something to watch while you're eating your Western omelet.
There you go, bud. Yeah. And Western toast. Okay. So I watched I think I watched something else, but guess what I watched just recently, John? So I'm a big fan of the original. I'm just going to show you. Do you know what this is?
That is the Lou Ferrigno Hulk? No, it's not. It is the Ed Norton one? No, it is not.
It's the Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, so okay.
When Ang Lee's Hulk came out, they released the pilot episode and then the season 2 episode called Married on a DVD. It's one of those ones you have to flip it over for each. Man, because for whatever reason, I got on this weird like itch that I wanted to watch some original Bill Bixby Lou Ferrigno Hulk. Mm-hmm. I still say, man, that pilot holds up. Like from 1977, it is still decent, man. It's a good pilot.
I used to love that Hulk show, but I don't remember a lick of it other than the finale where he dies. He falls out of a helicopter or something and is just on the pavement, just lying there. And for some reason, I really gravitated towards the Hulk. I remember my mom always tells me, yeah, you really love that Hulk guy.
Yeah.
I've never watched any of them since. So it would be interesting. Do they not have the full seasons? Is it something to do with rights?
You can get the full seasons on iTunes. There are 5 seasons, and I think it would cost me like $80 to get it. You can get a Blu-ray on Amazon. I think it's $85. But to be honest with you, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back and revisit these.
Yeah, I'm good. One episode will probably cover you. You're good.
I'm good. I'm good. Like I really like the show, but I don't know if I would. I think I'd be like mad that I spent the money if I bought the full season. Okay. And last thing I want to talk about, John, is Elvis. I went to the theater. I saw Elvis on the weekend.
1 for the money, 2 for the show.
3 to get ready. Let's go, John. No.
Everybody, let's rock. Rob said he was not an Elvis fan. I was shocked.
Yeah.
So I was shocked.
Okay, so let me
go ahead.
Let me just say this. I am in my late 40s, right? I'm on the far side of the mid 40s, like on the just okay. Anyways, like I'm not in the early 40s. I'm on the late side of the 40s. So
you're the tail end.
No, not that far. For me growing up, Elvis was a joke. He was the guy that like died in the toilet, who liked his fried banana and peanut butter sandwiches. Who it was overrun with infomercials all the time of seeing Elvis and the commemorative plates and the infomercials for Elvis in Hawaii, now on 3 VHS tapes for 2 easy payments of $19.99.
No, you would the CD sets I think were really hot, and then you would see all the titles scroll past, and you're like, oh, I know a couple of those.
Yeah, so and so it was a kitschy. He was a character that I saw. I knew the music. You would hear all about the king of rock and roll, and this huge hype over this guy who, as far as I knew, he died taking a shit. And I was like, what are you talking about? Anyways,
they would make those jokes on like Bugs Bunny and stuff. He would or Tiny Toons. It would be like a fat guy in a chair, and he'd shoot the TV with a gun.
Exactly.
I hear where you're coming
from. Parody. He became the whole thing. So that was my understanding of Elvis, right? And then all the pop culture icon that was created, this marketing machine just to sell spoons and plates to old ladies.
Yeah, but you never listened to the music. You remember that when that Elvis #1s CD came out, and they just I think it was like the first time ever they just had all his #1s in one spot for you. You didn't kind of give it a listen, like.
No, I knew of the music, but I never cared for it. Let me just tell you something though. After watching this movie, John, And it humanized the individual to me. It made me really appreciate the talents that this man had. It made me really appreciate his music, the struggles this guy went through, and essentially to know, and I'm not spoiling anything, it's like spoiling Titanic. At the end, the ship goes down. But
Whoa, wait, what?
but to know that he was literally just a mule for everybody else just to feed off of. Like they beat him to death essentially to work because that was their source of income, including his family. And to know all of that happen, and I know that it's a movie and there are some maybe creative liberties with some of the storytelling or some of the events, or they've combined certain events into one thing for the movie. I get that. But for me, it put a whole new perspective on it, on the man and on the talent. He was only 42 when he passed. So a young guy. And so I got to admit, I've been kind of going back, listening to some of his music since I saw the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie and you're trepidatious about going to see it because you're like, fuck, man, it's Elvis, I don't give a shit, I'm tired of hearing about Elvis. I'm telling you that right now, you will come out of this movie and you will be like, holy shit, it was amazing. I was with my wife and I were the youngest people in the theater. Lots of old ladies who were talking to each other going, you're on mute. Do you remember this? And then crying at the end and stuff like that. So I really think if you haven't had an opportunity, an opportunity to go see Elvis in the theater, I suggest going ahead and doing it, because I think you'll come out and probably with a better appreciation and respect for the guy and the talent.
Yeah. For some reason, I picked up his music when I think they did that #1 CD. And I was jamming it like I don't even think I listened to it when it first came out. I discovered it later on, and I just jammed a lot of his music. And the movie Lilo and Stitch, they used a lot of Elvis tracks in there. I feel like that just kind of pumped it up. So I'm a big fan of his music, so I do look forward to this movie. I wonder, you don't have to say or not, if they address any of the cultural appropriation type stuff that always comes up in the discussion when you mention Elvis nowadays. But
they actually, they do, but they do it from it's really interesting, because you end up leaving the theater and you wonder, did he appropriate it, or is it more that he was paying an homage and respect to it? Because so it is kind of up in the air for interpretation. I wouldn't go so far as to say he blatantly ripped people off, but there is also, we have to remember, this is like the 40s and 50s where certain individuals of different races, they were not being heard, they were not even being listened to, they weren't allowed to have their music played on radio. So he was taking that music and putting it out there. Obviously he benefited from it, but it's an interesting conversation to have once people have seen the movie.
There's a whole debate up for it. Even Bruno Mars and a lot of other artists kind of get criticized for it, so that's not a debate for today. But I think I do really want to see it as well, Rob, so I might try and squeeze it in at the theaters. If not, I'll wait till it comes home video, and I think my wife would get a kick out of that one. She's a big Elvis fan. Go ahead.
No, that's all I got. That's all I got.
All right,
man.
All right, thank you, everybody. It looks like a lot of people watched the Umbrella Academy season 3. Went through all of it. I count at least 3 people in our chat who binged it all. So shout outs to that show. That something is still Netflix binge worthy. Like, it dropped. And there's still people watching all of it. I remember when those Marvel shows were dropping in their height, and I would talk to people at the store, and I'd be like, "Oh, did you watch it?" They're like, "Oh, I stayed up till 2 a.m. till it dropped, and I watched all of it, and I took the next day off and stuff like that." So that's cool that a show like that can still do that. So I do want to check it out. And a couple people mentioned The Boys. I see Steve in the chat saying Boys is at its best right now. I think Scott tagged Herogasm. I question how dirty they're gonna get in this show. Yeah, so Scott said he couldn't stop on Umbrella Academy. So but now you're done. Now you gotta wait for season 4. Like, what are you gonna do?
I know. Do you think this show has
Legacy? Do you think this show has to drop like that, Tom? I'm
Tom?
Yeah, I was gonna call you Tom for a second. I was like,
you call me Scott for a second, then you call me Tom.
I went with Scott, Tom, and then I didn't even get to Rob yet. I was
you're like, what's his name again?
Like, what's wrong with my brain? Am I having a stroke?
Other generic white guy name can we?
Mike? I could have called you Mike. Apologies, Rob.
Adam.
It's when I'm trying to form things in my head and I just lose track of names. I don't know what it is. Anyway,
that's okay, Frank.
Yeah.
What?
You think it needs to drop like that, or you think if Umbrella switched to a formula of dropping once a week, would it maybe not be as hot?
I don't know. I you know what? I think the problem with these debates is that everybody likes to watch certain shows the way they want to watch it. So, for instance, Umbrella Academy, The Boys. Oh, sorry, not Umbrella. The Boys, For All Mankind. All those I like for them to finish so I can binge watch them all. Right. Game of Thrones, Westworld. I like watching those ones week to week. So I just think that I think that both models sufficiently provide entertainment to each individual user however they want. Maybe they like to binge everything, so they wait till things bunch up and finish and then watch it all. Some people maybe like a hybrid like I do, or people wish it was week to week. So you have reality is you're getting more week to weeks than you are in binge. Disney is week to week. Amazon Prime is generally week to week. Paramount Plus stuff is week to week. So there's more week to week stuff than there is nowadays with binge dropping. I think really only Netflix does the binge drop.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see how much people are still talking about Umbrella Academy a couple weeks down the road. If it basically just disappears in the next week or so, and then everyone just like when's the next season out, then we kind of got because I feel like this has happened a bunch of times, and I feel like Netflix is on the ropes right now when people kind of start criticizing its content. So we'll see if Umbrella Academy formula work, and people are going to keep talking about it. I feel like we got a lot of mileage out of that last season, so we'll see how that goes. Scott Lewis did shout out the Optimus Prime Lego. Did you get the Optimus Prime Lego, Rob? I know you got the Voltron. Did you want Optimus Prime next to them?
You know what? I was thinking about it. I really wanted to, and actually, I spoke to Lewis last week. And I was like, I think if I'm going to spend the same amount of money, I'm going to go with that DeLorean set. So I'm just waiting for it to come back in.
Oh, okay. So. I'm waiting for the variant Optimus Prime set that comes with the gray bricks, so you can do Corpse Optimus. There's two companies releasing. They call it. I don't know if they call it Dead Optimus Prime or whatever. He's all grayed out. So there's. I think Super 7 is the company. They're doing two versions of a grayed out Optimus Prime, so you can relive your childhood trauma. Yeah, so shout out to Gord. He said he's a hybrid binger, so I guess he follows like Rob's formula, whatever fits into your schedule. If you can binge it, hey, it's all there. That's freaking awesome, right? I'm sure you would have binged a bunch of your shows this week if they were all there, but you're waiting for them to finish.
You know what? Also, I got stuck on, John. My son and I were going to watch Umbrella Academy together, but unfortunately, John, we have 6 episodes of The Flash we've built up. And
abandoned ship, pull the ripcord. You hate this show, do you not?
I do, and yet we blew through like 4.5 episodes just to try to get. I know it's horrible. Anyways, that's it. That's all we got. We should move on.
Try to move this way so we get less Spider-Man interrupting. Oh yeah, DeLorean. Lewis says the DeLorean is totally worth it. He sent me a wicked link on a rebrickable of the Batmobile from the Batman that turns it into the '89 Batmobile. So. Sweet. I don't know if I want to take apart that entire kit and redo it. But anyways, thank you everybody for sharing with us what you got up to this weekend, doing some recon on some of the shows. Thanks, Rob, for that Elvis review. I think I'm looking forward to, some Jailhouse Rock.
And honestly, man, Austin Butler, who plays Elvis, I hope he gets an award nomination, man.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I saw an Ezra Miller comment. I don't know if we're going to address the Ezra Miller.
We're not going to do it today, but I think
other than it's bonkers.
Yeah, at some point in the very near future, Steve.
See, Stu. No,
Scott. Because I saw that Steve. It was Steve's message. Stu, John, and I have discussed that we will probably address it at some point. The problem is that it's an ever moving and evolving situation, and we also don't want to get sued. So.
They're not gonna get sued. They got enough problems right now. The entire roster is collapsing. Thank God for The Rock stepping in as Black Adam.
Oh, that was one thing. Before we go onto what's new at the store, dude, I gotta tell you, when you're seeing Elvis, I told you we're the youngest people, and there's lots of older. There is nothing funnier during the previews than seeing Black Adam preview a trailer at the Elvis movie, and all these old people are looking at each other like, "What is happening?" You got The Rock punching jet planes out of the air and shit. So that made me laugh.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to play trailers only appropriate for a certain these are movies now, so whatever is gonna happen. Yeah. All right. So I kept all the store stuff short. So if you're not following us on Instagram, Facebook, check us out there. We do post the new comic releases there. There's a bunch of new hot toys that got listed, but I think I'm gonna wait because some of it is kind of spoilery for the new movies. Like there's a new Thor, Hot Toys, all this kind of stuff. So I didn't want to look at it in case it gives away some stuff for the movie. I will mention that we are getting, remember that big sensation that hit, I want to say a couple of years back, Rob, Pokemon Go. Yeah. Did you go outside and chase Pokemon at all? Like the whole family got out and did?
Oh, yeah. The kids were going. My battery was draining on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember where I currently live, there's a big park, and it's one of those parks that's just open field. It's not a playground. It's not a soccer field. It's literally just a bunch of trees and just open grass. Right. And for some reason, it had a Pokemon gym or whatever in there.
Yeah.
And I drove past, and it was just full of people. It looked like a nightclub. Like literally just people, like just a whole park, like a giant park, not a small park. Like this is humongous. And I was like, this is nuts. And now that Pokemon Go died down, there's nobody in that park ever whenever I drive past. But they are finally releasing a card game kind of expansion to go along with the Pokemon Go stuff that they released in the game. I'm not super familiar with the game, so I don't know what's unique to the Pokemon Go that has not appeared in the card game. But apparently there's a new set. It's super hot. Everybody's been asking me for it like crazy. It'll start dropping this weekend. I believe Friday or Saturday is the release date. So if you're looking for Pokemon Go stuff, you can hit me up. I'll try my best to set you up. It is going to be limited. The first wave is going to be kind of short. So make sure you plan ahead, folks, and check it out. But that's it. There's going to be tons of other new stuff at the shop dropping this week. So hit up our social medias and check in, and we will update our holiday hours. I'm not quite sure what we're running on for Friday. We might be closed for the day. I'm not sure. Rob, let me kick it to you for the news.
Wow. That was it, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, you did
sure
keep it. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in. As John said earlier, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast, it was myself and John subbing in without Stu, who had a prior commitment tending to his racehorses that he got from Saudi Arabia. Last week, so John and I discussed Obi-Wan Kenobi and a bunch of other things, which I can't remember right now. So you definitely want to check out that episode, and thanks for supporting and subscribing and all that jazz. Okay. Hey, John, buddy, are you familiar with the Green Hornet?
I have heard of the Green Hornet. Yes.
Okay. Well, the Green Hornet was initially a radio program in the 30s where newspaper publisher Brett Reed, now that's a white guy's name, Brett Reed, spent his nights fighting crime with his sidekick and driver, Kato. The Green Hornet came to television. It became a comic book later on in the 50s and then came to television in the 60s in its own show, as well as guest starring on the Batman TV show. Kato was played by... What?
I remember they did a crossover, right?
Yeah, exactly, with the Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward. As we all know, Kato was played by Bruce Lee. And in 2011, Seth Rogen starred in a movie version of the Green Hornet. Well, it looks like the masked vigilante is coming back to the big screen as horror director Lee Whannell, who is known for Saw, who is known for, I think, some of the Insidious movies, who is known for The Invisible Man. He's been.
I know when I think of Saw and Invisible Man, I think, man, this guy should be directing Green Hornet.
He's got some talent, man, but he's been tapped to direct and helm the Green Hornet and Kato for Universal Pictures. David Cope of Spider-Man and Jurassic Park fame has written the updated version of the movie, and according to Deadline, Universal loves it so much that pre-production on the movie has already started. They want to fast track this. They are looking at this as being a huge movie for them. No news on cast or release date yet, but John, can the Green Hornet be successfully updated for a modern MCU-fed audience?
Oh, I'm sure it can. Do you remember that Seth Rogen Jay Chow movie?
Yes.
It was not good, right?
I have it. No,
you own it because you're a zombie to this type of stuff. But do you actually enjoy it?
I think I own it because Blockbuster was going out of sale and I was just grabbing Blu-ray.
You're like, I'll get it. It's got superheroes, it's got Seth Rogen in it.
Yeah.
It'll be funny. But yeah,
I've never seen it since.
Yeah. But I think it was a bad combination because Seth Rogen and like a comedy guy. Maybe he could do it. Maybe he could do it now, I think later in his career. But at the time, he was known for all his comedic stuff.
Yeah.
So that movie was like almost destined to fail. Jay Chow, he didn't quite get a chance to cross over. He's playing Bruce Lee's part. He is not a real martial artist. He kind of does martial arts in some of his music videos, but he has never been you're hiring someone to play Bruce Lee. They've got to be good
Well, you're
I think
having
they
to
have to
step
have,
into Bruce Lee's shoes. Yeah.
you have someone stepping in. You want to at least have them kind of at least know somewhat what's going on. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know if this can happen, Rob. They've done the comic book a bunch of times. It's never really caught on at the store. I've seen it fail several times. No one's ever asked me for Green Hornet merchandise ever, other than maybe someone has asked for a Kato mask during Halloween. I don't know if they asked because we're a comic store or because I'm Asian and they figured I know where to buy a Kato mask. I don't know what happened. Or maybe they were doing a Kill Bill costume. I was going to say Kill Bill costume. And they were like, hey, I think it's called a Kato mask. And they didn't actually know it was from Green Hornet. So I don't know. I don't know if this can work. But if you say that they've got a good script, then Hollywood says a lot of shite. So who knows if they can sell us on this hype train? Are you buying a ticket again, Rob?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is I took a look. Green Hornet is playing on the CTV app, John. So I feel like there's a rewatch in our future. I don't know, man. You know what?
I don't think so.
I think you have to update it. I'll be honest with you, John. I don't think the suit fedora wearing vigilante.
He was weird. The Green Hornet himself, even if you cut Kato out, who's just a martial, like his martial arts bodyguard, Green Hornet is kind of like what is he? Like a detective?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like
a gumshoe?
Yeah, he's a really shitty Iron Man, Batman guy because he has all the money but no tech behind him. He's like, oh, I got a car, the Black Beauty. Look at that, I'm awesome. I don't know. Anyways, hey John, a number of months ago we talked about a reboot of the Robert Rodriguez '90s movies, Spy Kids. Well, we got casting news a few days ago. Is Shazam actor Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez have been tapped to play the parents of the Spy Kids. The original movie had Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino playing the roles of the parents. John, are you excited for a Spy Kids reboot with Shazam and Rodriguez?
I don't know. I don't have any attachment to Spy Kids at all. I don't know if maybe you like. It would have been like past our time, right? We wouldn't be watching movies like that at our age. I've got no attachment. The only thing I've got somewhat attachment to is Zachary Levi playing a spy-like character. Did you ever watch that show Chuck, which I thought was a lot of fun? Yeah, I think it got better, and then it kind of like dipped and went all. I never kept up with it, so that probably is something to be said about that show as well. So I don't know. Sure, more kids content is good because it gives me hopefully something entertaining to watch with my kids.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. And finally, John, in an interview with Variety to promote Thor, Love and Thunder, Christian Bale was asked about his desire to reprise his role as Batman. Now, Bale has been known to say that he was done after the third movie and he's keeping that promise with one caveat, though.
Yes.
Bale is quoted in the article as saying, quote, if Chris Nolan ever said to himself, you know what? I've got another story to tell, and he wished to tell that story with me, I'd be in. So, John, would you? Like
I've got a new house to buy, or I need a paycheck. Let's
John,
do it,
would
Bale.
you like to see Bale and Nolan return to the Batman universe, or are you happy with the three movies that we got?
No one's happy with those three. No one's happy with that third movie. I think the general consensus is. I did kind of enjoy it when I saw it in the theaters. I feel like the third movie also was told not to happen, right? After he did 1, 2, Heath Ledger passes away. I think Nolan was like, I'm done. That's it. And then lo and behold, we have a third movie with Bane and Catwoman. So sure. I would actually like them to finish a fourth movie nice and strong. Give us proper closure to everything. Are you down with fourth, or you're going to walk away?
Look, well, listen, if they actually make it, I'm going to go see it. But do I want them to do it? No. Listen, The Dark Knight is it's up there as one of like a top tier movie, let alone comic movie. We've discussed this like numerous times on this show on the main podcast with Andre and Stu. So Dark Knight is like a benchmark movie. Mm-hmm. The Dark Knight Rises was a turd. It was like the flaming turd in a bag that you saw in Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison rather. So I don't know, man. I think I'm fine. Listen, we got the trilogy. Batman Begins is a good movie. It's decent. We got the trilogy. I think we ended there. I don't know what else. Like Nolan,
you're right. It has an ending. It ends. Right?
Yeah, and that's it.
Should you go back and potentially make a worser movie to add on to the fourth, but don't watch the third or the fourth one. Just watch the first two. Do you add an extra movie to the list of movies not to watch?
Well, don't forget, this is a situation where you've got Batman has only had 3 adventures according to this Nolan verse, right? And he was missing for 8 years between 2 and 3. So
I didn't get that from the movie. Everyone always brings up that argument, and I'm like, I didn't feel that. I felt like there was other stuff that happened that they just don't talk about.
No, it's all based on how they actually talk about the timing of things. So at any rate, it is what it is. Will it come to fruition? Who knows, John? Maybe you back up that Brinks truck and Nolan's like suddenly got an idea, but I kind of feel he had a bit of an outs with Warner Brothers, I feel. So I think his next movie is not with Warner. So it's going to take a lot for him.
There was some serious conflict with Tenet, I think, when they did the release on him, and
on video on demand.
He said some things, but things can be forgiven in the face of money. Unless you're DC and you really don't want to get this Snyder Cut thing going, which is Snyderverse. Which again is trending on the internet, on Twitter yet again.
It is, and do you want to know why? Is because for our American friends, it is coming. You can own it digitally as of July something or other, 12th or 8th or something. It's been available to buy up here on iTunes, Google Play, and all that for like a year, but it hasn't been available to purchase digitally in the U.S. So for our friends like Scott, hey, good news! Now you can own it.
But
and that, John's the news.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. Thank you everybody for sticking with us. I don't know if there's any other news we want to drop. No, I don't think so. Pretty quiet. I was going to ask you what you thought of Tom Cruise's Top Gun embarrassing Lightyear at the box office.
Well, listen.
Do you have any desire to see Lightyear? I have zero.
No, I do have. I've heard it's actually really good. So, but I would wait for it to come on Disney Plus. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I feel like the market for a movie like Lightyear was not clear.
Yeah,
like my kids would have no interest in seeing that, and they love Toy Story.
Yeah, it's my kids are kind of like my daughter doesn't care for movies, to be very honest with you. So, and my son was like, no, I have no interest in seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I think the problem is you got a juggernaut of Top Gun. Top Gun and Elvis practically tied this weekend. Elvis inched it out a little bit for first spot, but Top Gun's been out for 4 weeks. So like to me, it's like, okay, like it's just a massive juggernaut that's rolling over everything. I think Lightyear got swept up in that, and there's been
I think if it was on streaming, we all would have watched it. If Lightyear was on streaming, we all would have watched it by now.
Right. But I think there's also been a lot of controversy that's been blown out of proportion, John, involving a single scene of 2 same-sex characters kissing. And that has blown itself wide all over, which sounds way worse than I meant it to. But it's all over. People are really upset about it.
How big did it blow itself up, Rob?
And a lot of, and so I think that has not helped this controversy with respect to that. And controversy that I think is bullshit, regardless, I think has really caused a lot of people to kind of back away from watching that movie. So, whatever. I don't, the world's a funny place right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it, John. Anything else we want to get into before we get into tonight's movie?
No, I think we should dive in. So that's the news. That's everything that's going on around us right now. But let's talk about this legacy sequel that came out during the first, I think during lockdown period of the pandemic. So it's really weird. I never watched it on the first run, but Rob, what do you got on this Bill and Ted? I think, do you have a rundown or anything like that?
I do. So thank you everybody for joining us. Hopefully you got a chance to watch Bill and Ted Face the Music. As John said, the movie was released on August 20th. Face Off was released on August 28th, 2020. Bill and Ted Face the Music is the third in the Bill and Ted series, but a staggering 29 years since Bogus Journey. The writers of the first 2 movies, Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, returned for Face the Music, as did Alex Winters as Bill S. Preston Esquire and Keanu Reeves as Ted Theodore Logan. Now, a third movie has been in the many stages of development for years, but in May of 2018, both Reeves and Winters officially signed on. Also returning to the franchise, William Sadler's Grim Reaper Death, Hal Landon Jr. as Chief Logan, and Amy Stotch as Missy. The budget was $25 million and brought in only $6.2 million at the box office, John. However, it was also released on video on demand on the same day, and was the top rented movie on Fandango, iTunes, and Google Play for a number of weeks. Now, it is estimated that the movie grossed $32 million from U.S. digital rentals alone as of September 30th, 2020. Now, let's just not forget, John, this was right at really at the start of the pandemic. It was August of 2020. We had only been locked. We've been in our houses for like 3 or 4 months at that point. So it was kind of, it's hard to believe. It feels like forever ago, but it was kind of the trailblazer to say, hey, we're doing same day release and on digital because some regions were opening up.
Was it an option for us in Canada though? I think Canada was completely
in Canada. We maybe in certain areas in the country we were allowed. Some people may have gotten to see it because their numbers were relatively low. We in Ontario were unable to go to theaters whatsoever. And I feel that theaters didn't open up, John, until September, October of that year because I went and saw Tenet in 2020. Now, Face the Music finds our two heroes in a downward spiral as their musical career has tanked. The marriages are on the rocks and their kids are annoying as hell, John. With the casting of original star George Carlin's Rufus. His on-screen daughter, Kelly, travels back in time to warn Bill and Ted that reality is unraveling. And then once again, a song must unite humanity. Now, the reason that his character is... Okay, I'm just going to blow your brain. As a nod to Carlin, his on-screen daughter was named after his real-life daughter, Kelly. So that's why Rufus's daughter was named Kelly in the movie. Okay, so John, the original Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure dropped in 1989, and here we are 33 years after that most triumphant movie. So John, does Face the Music succeed as a worthy successor, or is it another bogus journey?
Hey, yo, don't you dare trash talk Bogus Journey. I feel like we really should have watched Bogus Journey for this episode. But I had not seen this. I didn't see it when it dropped originally on digitally. I guess I didn't feel like renting it or whatever. And then when it finally did pop up on regular, available for free on a streaming service that I was already subscribed to, I didn't even fire it up. So it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But overall, like this Rotten Tomato score is actually pretty high. I'm actually surprised it got an 82%. Because I wouldn't rate the movie that highly. I actually forgot to add that the Rotten Tomato scoring. It does make me wonder though, John, if it was rated that high because of the time. Yeah.
Right. Like
So if I had watched it right when it dropped, because new content was dropping, like no new movies. We were basically watching TV shows. And nothing new with a movie star was airing, right? So I think if I watched at that time, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. It's not quite a strong. I wouldn't say it's a strong movie. It's kind of, the plot is kind of passable. You have a lot of fun. What the joy in the movie is seeing these two guys back again in the original roles, and them kind of doing these weirdo alternate versions of them for jokes and stuff like that, and then they have the added comedy of creating this band and creating characters like a Kid Cudi and stuff. Like it was kind of bizarre, some of the choices they made, but I think it was fine. I had fun with it, but it did feel like almost like an SNL sketch is what I kind of compared it to. Like they just kept going. It's like, oh, what if we did this? So I don't know, but I think you're right. If I watched it at the time it dropped, I think it would have done a lot better for me. So, Rob, you watched it originally when it came out, and you said this was not bad. When we were going, you didn't veto this selection. I don't regret watching it. I think it's still fun, but I think it's not as strong as we'll get into it later when we start talking about legacy follow-ups.
So I was very excited when this was coming out, and so much so that I purchased the first two movies on through my iTunes account, and my son and I, we watched them, and he loved the first one. And I gotta tell you, it gets hard to get a kid of nowadays to watch and appreciate 80s and even 90s movies, right? There's they treat it the same way we probably treated black and white movies. Like, oh my god, it's in black and white.
Like, this is not even available digitally.
Yeah, I know.
This is not HD.
God, this is the worst special effects ever. It's made of plasticine. So anyways, we watched Face the Music. We paid the $24.99 or $30, I guess, in Canada to rent it, and it was okay. Like I remember, like we were like, okay, it's not the first movie, but it's not Bogus Journey, which I've been on record. I don't like Bogus Journey at all.
Bogus Journey is a blast.
You're an idiot. And and I think though that you're right, and this is what I guess I was going with the Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics side, is that there wasn't really anything new coming out. There were some new Netflix movies that had come out, like The Old Guard, but we were kind of in a without any real new content for quite some time. Like shows had just ended. Like there was no season finale because everything stopped in March. We were just like, what is happening? Right. So I felt like it felt kind of like, hey, we've got something new. There's like a huge movie coming out. We can actually watch it at home. This is amazing. And so I think it added, we talk a lot about theater experience. I think at that moment, at home viewing experience really heightened our sense of loving things. So I enjoyed it. I really didn't care to want to go back to it last week when it was Fraser who suggested it. It won on the wheel of life, and it won. I purchased it.
You had taken his choice, which was the original Bill and Ted, I think.
No, that was my choice.
No, but I think maybe he wanted that choice originally, and he was just tacking this on. But we forgot to mention that we were going to allow people to double up, so we could have had 2 spots of Bill and Ted flipping around on our wheel. Yeah.
Regardless, so I watched it again, and I gotta say, this is not a great movie. Like. And I feel so bad because I know there's like a lot of heart went into this movie, and you can tell. But aside from me, John, aside from like the end song, like that whole thing coming together, all this made me want to do is go back and rewatch the first one, because I felt like they were aping what they had done in the first one, like by going through time and picking out all these
grabbing the people,
characters. But it was their kids doing it, and the daughters were not. Like, I found it to be annoying, and they were parodying.
I think the daughters needed more of the focus flipped onto them so they could become. But they were basically just doing parodies.
Yeah,
of
the Keanu original
and the other gentleman. I forgot his name because he's not as big as Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Alan Quinter. Actually, he's a huge director. He's done some amazing documentaries. You should check him out.
Oh,
but
cool dude.
But yeah, they felt like parodies. Like, and I was just like, oh my god! Like, I realized. The whole thing felt like a parody in and of itself, and it wasn't self-deprecating. And at a point where it's like, I feel like they have a lot of heart in this, but it felt forced. I don't know, man. Like it really made me appreciate how much I really enjoyed the first movie a hell of a lot more. So if anything, Bill and Ted Face the Music made me really, really affirm my love of the first movie.
Yeah. So yeah, where would you? Well, okay. Before I move on to that,
sure.
Was there anything that really, other than, was there anything that stuck out in this movie that you would take away from it? I don't think it's gonna ever be rewatched by me again. I don't think so. The bad robot guy was kind of awkward and funny at the same time. He was really humorous. But would you take anything away from this? Do you like? I think Fraser mentioned he really likes the prison Bill and Ted, which was pretty funny with the fake muscles and stuff. I kind of like old Bill and Ted. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, is there anything to take away from this? Like again, I said I don't regret watching this. It was still kind of fun to see those guys back in action.
You know what? Like, I think that the scene in the therapist's office.
Okay.
When she's like, okay, when I suggested couples therapy, it's not really what I meant. And like, what do you mean? We're 2 couples. Like, I thought like that was kind of funny. I thought
Bill and I love you, girls. And then he's like, no. What we want to say is this. And then he says the same thing in like a roundabout. Another way. No, that was fun. Okay, yeah.
I actually think like the guy who plays Ted's the father, the officer.
Yeah, okay.
Is hilarious as hell. The fact that his little brother Deacon marries Missy, and then Bill has to go through like who she married and the connection, like that all kind of stuff was funny because it reminded me a lot of like the first stuff. Like it just felt like they were cool little throwbacks to those first two movies. But anything after that, like the robot, the emotionally confused robot.
He had moments. I thought they were going to expand more, but it was kind of funny when he's like, so like zapped all your family, or like really,
yeah,
like, it was kind of funny for a second.
Yeah, but you know what? To me, it felt though like what they were doing with that was coming up with another character to match what Death was in Bogus Journey.
Yeah, Death didn't become what he did in Bogus Journey. In this one, I was waiting for him to kind of like really play back and forth, but he didn't.
And Kid Cudi, and I'm gonna sound old. He's an actual artist, right?
I don't know if that. I'm pretty sure that was an actor playing a young version of him, but he is an actual
okay, I just was like
an OG kind of.
Okay, I was just like
is well respected.
All right, I was just kind of like, why are we throwing in a pop culture, like I just like a modern day pop culture person? Like, I didn't.
It's a little bit off the wall.
Well, it'd be like as if you threw in the Jersey Shore people. Like there was that one movie, the Three Stooges movie, right? Like, okay, whatever. But they had like the Jersey Shore cast in it. And it's like, when you do that, you've dated yourself. That movie then becomes so hard to go back and watch because it's dated to that specific period of time when those people were, culturally relevant. So that's where I just see. Station. And I was thinking about when Kid Cudi says that, he goes station, and they both were like, and I was like, but that comes out of nowhere. Why are you even saying that?
That's what they did. I was expecting more Bogus Journey throwbacks, but I guess they went more with like throwing back to the first one.
Well, yeah, and so you know what, it reminded me a little bit of, and hear me out, Back to the Future Part 2, when they redo Part 1. And I was like, I felt like what these guys were trying to do was to redo Part 1 on a different timeline with the daughters doing it, but Bill and Ted going through different timelines to try to find them. Like, it felt like they're amalgamating part and aspects of Back to the Future Part 2 and putting it together to make this movie. And I was like, it doesn't work. What are you doing? I don't understand. Like, you know what? The whole adage of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Make it about Bill and Ted. If you want Bill and Ted, have them. You know what? It's been 30 years. Have them go back and redo what they did in the first movie. Have them travel through time or their own timeline to pick up people to help create this song. But when you add in the kids and the wives are on their own adventure and the robot and everything else, it just becomes like a hot mess. It's too much. So
was it filmed during the pandemic? Do you know?
No,
offhand, or like it was all done. It was all wrapped before, but it feels like it was filmed in the pandemic because there's very few people together on set. It felt like some of the performers weren't actually interacting with each other, so it's kind of weird. So let me ask, where does this? I feel like the answer is pretty obvious. Like, where does this rank in your Bill and Ted 3? So I assume your list is Bill and Ted Original Excellent Adventure, then Bogus Journey, and then this one. Or am I wrong? Does this one go above Bogus
Journey?
Get out of town! I think you have it.
But Bogus Journey is stupid. And it's dumb, and it's I don't like it. The robots and Keanu Reeves. He lost his Ted Theodore Logan voice in Bogus Journey. It was just different. So I Bogus Journey is bogus for reals. I would almost put the Saturday morning cartoon episodes above Bogus Journey.
I remember I had a video game for Bill and Ted. I don't know if I remember what system it was on. I think it was on like Commodore 64 or something, where you had to go back through time and find all the historical characters. And I never could figure it out because I think you actually had to know a little bit about history. I would put Bogus Journey on top. Excellent Adventures.
You're a maniac.
Excellent Adventure, and then this third one at the end, just because it is a nice kind of send off, cap off. But like you said, if they had focused just on Bill and Ted, or handed it off to the new cast, maybe they could have done something a little more and propelled the legacy forward. But now you're kind of like, that's it, I'm done with it, right? But yeah, I don't know. Bogus Journey, and I know it's probably bad. I know it's incredibly bad, but it's at that special point in time where I just had it on repeat, and me and my brother on VHS while we were playing with our toys in the basement and stuff like that.
You got to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the nostalgia.
Yeah, and you'll be like, jumps. Oh, what was I thinking? The simplicity of the first movie, though, you got the two guys going through time to find relevant historical figures to help with their presentation. Otherwise, they're going to fail high school. And at the same time, while they're doing it, Napoleon gets stuck in modern day.
Yeah. I remember the video game. You had to type in the year that you wanted to go to, and this was before the age of the internet. So I didn't have the years handy when I was a little kid. So I think we knew how to go to one specific year and get one character, but we didn't know the rest. Anyways, let's move on from Build It. Anyone in the comments, let us know how you felt. I think we've got a general consensus. I think a lot of people had fun with this movie. But would never kind of go back and put it on their repeat list, or it wouldn't be a rewatchable movie or whatever. But like I said, nice end cap to this kind of legacy, or something we never thought would happen. I never thought we were going to get a Bill and Ted 3. Like, that's crazy. But in general, in legacy rankings, does this go anywhere on your list? Or there's so many things. We've got the best example right now, which is Tom Cruise Maverick. Does this beat out any legacy things? I'm going to run off some legacy titles for you, Rob. Let me know if this Bill and Ted 3 beats any of them. So one of my favorites, Bad Boys for Life. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Of course
Bad Boys
we reviewed it.
Bad Boys for Life. Get out of town. No, we didn't. We talked about it. We didn't officially review it because I would still be down for officially reviewing it. Star Wars Force Awakens is considered a legacy follow-up. Creed, Brian Michael B. Jordan. No, it's Michael B. Jordan.
There you go. I don't know where Brian came from.
I think because Brian McKnight is fusing in my brain with Michael B. Jordan. Anyways, Blade Runner 2049, Matrix Resurrections. Does this beat Matrix Resurrections for you?
I'm gonna have to watch Resurrections again because it's a close tie, though.
No, I think Resurrections has got more going for it. I think you're underestimating it. But anyways, Mad Max Fury Road. How about these weird horror ones? Candyman.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah.
The newer version. I feel like it was on Crave, and I don't know if it's on there anymore because I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen it pop up on streaming. I feel like I would actually watch it because I did hear good things about it. But they did also do a Halloween reboot. Or what about one of your favorites, Rob? Tron Legacy. I assume.
Oh no, I love Legacy. I love Legacy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Lewis
chimed in. Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to rewatch Matrix 4. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I remember not really liking it as much.
Frazier says Bill and Ted is better than the new Star Wars. Touche. I'll give him that. I actually like Force Awakens.
So do I.
Gemini Man. I don't know if we reviewed Gemini Man, but I did go see it.
I think we did, John. I think we did.
I think we've talked about it. I think we've talked about these movies, but we never did a full review on them.
Okay.
But anyways.
Yeah. So I mean, it's listen, it was cool to kind of revisit.
It's cool to see these performers, especially Keanu Reeves, do this voice in this character again. I think that was funny. To maybe a certain point when I was watching it, maybe it ceased to be funny at a point.
Well, that's a good point because you almost like they didn't grow up. Like they're still acting as if like they're talking as if they're teenagers, and that was the one thing I found like I don't know, dude. Do you think like I don't know how many adults really talk like that?
We could do that if you really wanted. We could fill a podcast with, hey, dude, what did you think the old us is thought? Like, you're kind of like, all right, keep it moving. But yeah. Oh, yeah. So what would you want to see remade would be another good question. What else deserves a legacy sequel? Lewis says Point Break, possibly.
Well, they did that.
I'd be down.
Reboot of that. And
they did a full reboot that no one liked, which was it featured extreme sports. But if Keanu Reeves came back and did a follow-up, and we saw the Adventures of Johnny Utah in today's universe, and they maybe resurrect Gary Busey or something like that, would be.
He'd have to cut his hair. All of his movies now, including this one, it's all long hair with either beard or without. Like this is like
I think he could do it. He could basically any character that he played is now aged and has the long hair beard look.
Yeah,
but
he's in the Liam Neeson phase of his career.
Yeah. I had said after seeing Top Gun Maverick, it should be called Tom Gun though. Top Gun Maverick, that if Tom Cruise wants to take that level of enthusiasm and commitment to any of his movies, 100% do it. So if we see Days of Thunder Maverick come out, I'd 100% down. The Color of Money, bring it back. I think that actually is a follow-up to some other old movie or something like that.
It is The Hustler.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, or how about Cocktail though? If they made a new Cocktail,
oh man,
I would watch. But I am a Tom Cruise fanboy. Anything you want to see come back, Rob? That just popped into your mind, maybe?
Nope, I can't.
No. You're okay with new stuff?
I can't think of anything that I would revisit, because you know what? I think you do run the risk of either destroying the memory of what came before it or just becoming irrelevant, kind of like this one. Top Gun Maverick makes you appreciate the first one, but it almost exceeds the first one. People are going to watch Maverick more than they're going to watch the first one.
Yeah. You think that was just a fluke? I feel like it was not a fluke. They put effort into it, but it was a lot of effort.
I would say I would love to find out what Ferris Bueller is doing now, right? as a dad in his 50s, what's Ferris Bueller doing right now? But the reality is, it wouldn't be nearly as magical as what the first movie was. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay,
what about one of those John Hughes movies that you remember from your childhood? What if they did a follow-up to something like that? Or have they already done that? Have they done remakes of any of those movies?
No, John. No, he's no longer here, and none of his movies have ever been redone. But that's why I said the best one would have been probably Ferris Bueller's Day Off. 16 Candles, no. Weird Science, no. Breakfast Club, but Detention is a whole different. And what are they, all teachers? No. Yeah. So I think first.
Hey, what about Mannequin? What if they brought back Mannequin?
Oh my god, they did Mannequin 2 On the Move. Maybe, like I said, Ferris Bueller's Day Off would probably be the most easily accessible, because you could have a father in his 50s who has probably a rebellious teenage son or daughter, and he's like, "Listen, I did all that stuff. You can't be doing." I think that would be a pretty cool idea. But the reality is, I love that movie, and I don't know if I really want to go back and have them mess it up. So, and maybe that lies in my head as a fan fiction dream.
All right, so we'll close the book on that, and we'll revisit the idea of these legacy sequels, or maybe Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey at some point. So we'll see. Rob is not having it. All right, so thanks everybody for joining us for Bill and Ted Face the Music, which was our random spinner selected by Fraser. So thanks, Fraser, for giving us that choice. We're happy it didn't land on a couple other titles that popped up there for various reasons.
Flash Gordon.
I do kind of want to see Flash Gordon again. But speaking of Flash Gordon, we are watching something next week that is Flash Gordon like, right, Rob?
I think yes. Sure.
Yeah. What are we watching next week?
Oh, okay. So listen, hey, it's hard to believe we are just a few short days away from January. July. July 1st is just 4 days away. And in just over a week's time, John, we've got the newest entry in the Marvel movies, the MCU. We have Thor, Love and Thunder hitting theaters on July the 8th. So join us next Monday live at 8:15 p.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch as we go back and check out Thor Ragnarok, which was the movie that preceded the events of Avengers Infinity War. So this is on Disney Plus for those who are, I guess, all over North America or mostly across the world. If you have access to Disney Plus, you can check out Thor Ragnarok there. Watch it. Let us know what your thoughts are when John and I go back in time and check this one out. I just watched it a couple weeks ago. I'm going to watch it again. I quite enjoyed it. So I'm excited for this, John. I've already got my tickets for Love and Thunder. Are you excited to revisit Ragnarok?
Yeah, I haven't seen Ragnarok since I watched it in theaters. I did really enjoy it, and I probably would have ranked it very highly on my Marvel chart at the time. But the fact that I haven't been able to sit down and watch it again in its entirety, so my daughter's going crazy. Maybe kind of is a knock to it. Same with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I feel like I really, really like that coming out of theaters, but I've never rewatched it since. So I'll be revisiting this On the Disney Plus, I believe it is the new enhanced IMAX version or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So everybody, please join us for Thor Ragnarok, and pick up your tickets for Love and Thunder. Been hearing some great things about it, so it looks pretty crazy. I've only seen that original trailer we did, Rob.
Yep.
And then the other trailer that they revealed during Top Gun. That's all I've seen of this movie, and people keep talking to me about it, and I'm like, I didn't watch any of the other stuff, so we'll see how that goes. So shout outs to Tropic Thunder. I don't know if we'll ever do a Tropic Thunder, but maybe next time we do a spinner reel, you guys can add it to the list. But yeah, Rob, any parting words before we vamoose for the night?
No. Thanks everybody. Thanks to Fraser for nominating. You know what? Even if we don't always enjoy the movies, at least we have a good time watching it and talking about it here. So that's the highlight. Sometimes you watch a shitty movie and you're like, man, that sucks, but at least we can come here and talk about it. So it hasn't been the worst thing we've ever seen, John. So there's that. Howard the Duck still holds that. So definitely, I'm excited to watch Ragnarok. I've got my tickets to Love and Thunder. But as we get into July, I was going to do it again. July 1st. I want everybody say and to our friends in the U.S. Because they got their long weekend on Monday coming up, a week today. So, be safe, everybody. Have a lot of fun this weekend. Drink responsibly, Gordon. I just picked his name and
just picked you at random. Gordon.
Yeah. And man, I look forward to doing this with you again next week, buddy.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Rob, thank you again for being a good sport. So we're going to check you guys.
You damn it!